Hey everybody, what is up? Welcome back to Final Trade. I wanted to have a talk about the Magic community. Yes, so the divisive subject. Rudy has said recently he's kind of lambasted the idea that there's this Magic community, this one all encompassing group of everyone involved, from WotC down through distributors, retailers, players, collectors, investors, everybody, that we have this great unified community. And he rightly calls out that it's nonsense. And he's definitely right there. There is not just one community for Magic players. But I think there's some more nuance here. And, I thought I'd grab a couple of my old pre modern decks and my not so pre modern legal decks and, just thumb through them here and talk about this for a little bit. And really, where I think the nuance comes in is that the Magic community, yes, it is not this one big monolithic group of people that encompasses everybody who has anything to do with these cards. Instead, you need to think of your Magic community. You need to be a little more selfish. And you need to think, well, if you have a group of friends who comes over in the evening and you sit around the kitchen table and you play Magic, well, that's your Magic community. For me, you guys are my Magic community because you guys talk with me, you leave comments, my patrons send me messages, and we talk about these cards and investing, and this is how we mostly interact with the game. I like to play pre-modern decks, and I mostly just play with my wife, and we enjoy playing Magic together. And to the extent that I do have time occasionally to play Magic, it's mostly with her, and so she is my Magic play community. And if you have a card store you like to go to, the owner is nice and he hosts events and the people who come are enjoyable to play with and they're polite, well, that's your community. You don't need to worry about WotC being part of your Magic community. Now, to some extent, they force themselves on you because obviously they decide what the products are. They decide to some extent what they will cost. They decide what gets made and what doesn't, how much gets out there, and all the rest of it. And so you can't get away from WotC in your community, but like a lot of things in life, you do have a choice about how emotionally invested you get. And that's a good thing to keep in mind, whether it has to do with your job, your career, your employer, your politics, your friends, whatever. You decide how emotionally invested you are, and you can always take a step back from things and have some time to calm down, some time to reassess, some time to just be away and recharge and all of those other types of healthy mental things. And so, you know, do that if you need to, but remember, the Magic community to you is personal. It's whoever you want to allow into your Magic community. And so don't feel bad when WotC makes bad decisions for, well, almost continuously for maybe a year or so now, running up print runs way too high and releasing way too many products and not letting off the gas pedal when they should have. But, you can decide how invested you are in that, how much you're going to let that affect you. And I've gotten a lot of comments from people recently that, they just hate what WotC is doing and they're thinking about either quitting for a while or maybe changing to a different game. And something I always suggest to you is, if you're feeling that, if you're feeling worn out, if you're feeling like there's too many releases, too many products, it's too expensive, you don't have time to enjoy it, a great way to pull back but still enjoy Magic is just focus on only buying singles for your favorite Commander decks and go play Commander with your friends, with your Magic community at your game store. Or, set aside 10, 12, $15, whatever it is where you live, to go play a booster draft every Friday night. Couple hours of enjoyment for $15. Well, it's probably cheaper than a movie. So, you can get a lot of enjoyment out of Magic and not spend a ton of money. Yeah, you can skip several sets. You could skip sets for a couple years, just focus on keeping your favorite Commander decks up to date and relevant by buying singles, and otherwise not really worry about it. Eventually, WotC will yield to the market. Everyone must yield to the market eventually. We are not. No one is powerful enough to overpower the market. And so WotC will have to change course in some way. they'll have to go back to focusing on players and card stores and the health of the ecosystem, but it may take a while longer still. And until that point, just make sure that your emotional investment in all of this is at an appropriate level. So let me know what you think. I don't think Rudy was wrong about this at all. I mean, obviously, WotC is a company. It is chiefly concerned with making money. That's what companies do. That's what Final Trade does. When I run Final Trade, I am chiefly concerned ultimately on the long timeline with making money. Now, it's nice that I can enjoy all this stuff in the meantime, have fun with it, meet people out there in the audience who want to make great comments and discuss things with me, and especially my patrons who are a self selecting group of people willing to pay a couple bucks a month to talk with me in private. So, it really makes everything great for me, but ultimately, Final Trade is about making money. And so we can't really be mad at WotC for wanting to make money. We get upset because it interferes with our enjoyment of this hobby, no matter whether we are a collector or an investor or a player, or we sit in between all three. But that's just what is going to happen. WotC wants to make money, and eventually they will realize that they are losing money because they are driving away more players than they should. And they will have to make structural changes in the way they operate the game in order to try and regrow the player base, which ultimately they'll be successful with that too. They'll manage to keep increasing revenue, and they'll do it hopefully on the backs of more players, not trying to squeeze every existing player for more and more money. But this could go on in the ways we've seen for the last year, maybe for another 6 months, 8 months. They're a big company, they're slow to change, but eventually they must yield to the market. And until then, you need to make sure that you are happy with what you're doing, with what your investment in this game is. So let me know what you think, guys. I appreciate you all. I appreciate my patrons especially. I appreciate everyone who leaves comments, who does such great discussion with me, interesting ideas, and I want you all to be happy with this game, whether you're a player, a collector, an investor, or just somebody who watches videos about it on YouTube. I want you to enjoy yourself, and I want you to have a happy and healthy Magic community that brings you joy. So, like, comment, share, and subscribe. Join me on Final Trade. Thanks a lot.